Welcome to the Fight Night Daily podcast. I'm Gareth and Davies, Spencer, the Omen Oliver with me as always, but we have the legendary Brian McIntyre, Bomac with us, trainer of course of Terence Crawford, and going into this fight, the trainer for the second time of Chris Eubank Jr. Hello sir and welcome.
How you doing, man? Thank you for having me.
You have been with Chris for the last few weeks. You were with him when he beat Liam Smith in the second fight. He received much praise, as you did, for his performance on the night. One of the best performances we've seen from him in a very long time. What have you gone over in this build-up with him in this camp, Bomac?
Just the basics, man. Just the basics. Just want to get back to the basics. That's it.
Bomac, you was instrumental in creating the master plan for Terence Crawford to beat Canelo Alvarez, and what I watched in the corner as an ex-fighter, and I watched the way that you was delivering, your words of wisdom to him in the corner, but there was calm around that, and there was you talking, then telling your second to say what he wanted to say, and that is important for a fighter. Will we see something similar to this with Chris Eubank Jr.?
Definitely that, man, because it's just not only me that's coaching him. I got two other coaches that's going to be in the corner, Saul Dieguez and Red Spike. So, I mean, they're their second and third pair of eyes that's watching him, just not only me. And when we do watch him, we watch him from different angles of the ring. So, whatever he don't see, I see. Whatever I don't see, they'll see.
Just explain how important, sorry, Gareth, just explain how important that is to have calm in the corner, because far too many times we see 3 or 4 people talking at all times. And when you're in a fight, as a fighter, you're trying to process it all. And sometimes that's too much for a fighter to handle and it messes up the game plan. Just explain the importance of each guy talking at a certain time.
Well, the importance about just being calm in the corner, because you want the fighter to stay calm too. Like I always tell every fighter that I work with, stay relaxed. Once you stay relaxed, you'll be able to see everything that he's trying to do. Then, along with being relaxed and getting your shots off, you be victorious.
When you look back at that first fight, which you will have watched, I don't know if you watched it with Chris as well, what did you see in that fight? Look back for us how you analysed that first fight.
Just a bunch of mistakes, man. I just seen a bunch of mistakes that where I think he can improve at as a fighter, and then he can capitalize off of that. Ben doing a lot of mistakes too. That where he can solidify that win this time.
Yeah, we all felt, or we certainly did, that he won 8 rounds to 4. It was a terrific contest. It was one of the fights of the year because both men gave so much. But for you, many of us feel that Conor Benn might try and box him early on, which will be to his detriment, but then we'll go into that war mode again. If he does that suit Chris?
Well, I tell you what, it's like this. If they say you're gonna come in and be more calmer or try to box, a leopard can't change the stripes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like Tyson say, once you get hit in the mouth, you go back to what you know. So you just be prepared for both. Mentally and physically prepared for whatever kind of brings to the corner.
A big issue going into that first fight was Chris's weight cut to 160, and obviously the rehydration clause that a lot of us don't really agree with. They've signed a contract for 2 fights, so the weight clause says that you can't rehydrate more than 10 pounds, otherwise there's big fines. Have you ensured that weight cut's been done very well this time, Bomac?
Well, not just only me. It's a whole team around it.
Yeah.
He got Napper, he got Miles, he got Stephen. He got guys that's with him every day and watching him every day and handling his food, handling his nutrition. So it's a team effort, and I know by just watching those guys work together that they're is really key in on it this time, because they don't want whatever happened last time to happen this time.
Now, we know you come up with a master plan each time, and we've seen that, and you're great at executing those master plans, but you also are great at training fighters. And I've seen that Chris has been training like a dog for this one. I've seen you, working him to the bone, and he's left no stone unturned. How important is that? Do you feel that he, in his last fight, may have took it a little bit too lightly, maybe?
Well, I can't say what he did in his last fight and how he trained. He had another guy in there. Can't think of his name, but I know he's a really good trainer. He comes from a really, really good stable of trainers and a gym, Kronk's gym. So I can't say, but I know what I need to do as a trainer to
Jonathan
pull.
Banks.
Yeah, Jonathan Banks. I know what I need to do as a trainer to pull the best out of the fighter. Like I always tell every fighter, you gotta trust in yourself. You gotta trust in your condition. Once you start trusting in your condition, that you did everything in the gym, it's a wrap after that.
And just explain the importance of hitting the weight right, because we know that Chris is tight at 160. As you get older, you do get tight at the weight. It is a bigger struggle. It was a struggle for me towards the end of my career making that weight, and he clearly missed it last time, and that probably took away 40% of what his natural potential, I would say. Because he missed that weight and going in there the later rounds, it always does become very difficult. Will he get the weight right this time? And if he does, the fight should effectively be easier.
Well, like I said before, he has a great team around him. Guys, Napper, Ma, Stefan. He's got other guys, man, just helping him out more. They know where his shortcomings was at. So I've seen them guys work their tail off in this camp to make sure that things are right this time. So I tip my hat off to those guys, and not just only just the coaches working with Chris, but the other part, the team part.
Let me just throw to a couple of other areas for a moment. Terence Crawford, they're talking about Yanibek Alim Kanuli left. Can we have him in a fight over here, please? Can you tell him how good the fans are here? How they'd love to see him at Wembley
You
Stadium?
know what? I've been texting Terrence, man. I tell you, I've been texting Bud for like for the last hours when we were on our way over here. I've been texting him. You can see it right here. Let me see.
Will you ring him for us now?
Let me see. Hold on, man. But I've been texting him. So there you go, right there. And so just what's that? An hour ago, 30 minutes ago.
Is he answering you, by the way?
Yeah, he answered. Yeah.
Can we call him?
No, I ain't gonna do that to him, man. But I talk to him all the time. So, but I haven't got a chance to talk to him. I actually haven't really been home since just went home for the parade and
Which looked amazing.
yeah,
in
went home
Omaha,
for the
yeah.
parade. So once I get back, man, we sit down in the office or we'll go buy something, get something to eat or some whatever. Then we'll talk about the future.
Is there anyone in Britain you'd like to see him fighting?
Anybody that want to get on that chopping block.
Brilliant. Obviously, it can't be Chris Eubank against him
No,
because that would divide you for one.
definitely not.
And let me just ask you, I think Shakur Stevenson's slated to fight Teo Lopez fairly soon,
I
isn't he?
believe so.
Do you like that fight for Shakur?
Yeah. Well, Shakur.
Does he beat Teo?
Yeah, I think he does. Shakur has a great sharp boxing mind.
Will he take over as pound for pound number one eventually?
Eventually he will. Because he's a young dude. He's a young kid. He's like 25 years old. We got a little ways to go.
How long has Terence got to go? He's getting in the twilight of his career now. But on the flip side, he's probably at the best he's ever been. So how much longer do you reckon we'll see Terence in the ring?
Well, I would tell you this. Terence doesn't abuse his body. He doesn't jump up in weight. He don't do the other things that he don't, party or nothing. He's strictly by the book type of fighter. And when it comes to professionalism, so I could see Terence going another couple fights.
Can I ask you, these are a couple of difficult questions. Terence Crawford versus Sugar Ray Leonard, who wins?
Oh, Bud, definitely Bud. Bud would definitely win.
Mayweather and Bud?
He'll stop him probably.
Oh, I love it. Let's get back to the weekend's events. Do you think Chris has the potential to stop Conor on Saturday night?
He definitely does. He definitely does.
Are you planning for that?
Well, I am planning for a 12-round win.
Okay.
But if a stoppage is there, trust me, he's in shape to go get it.
The great Bomac Brian McIntyre there, who is always so calm in the corners, you were at pains to point out in that interview. Well, Conor Benn spoke to talkSPORT earlier. Have a listen to this.
I don't like him, and I ain't got to like him. He ain't my cup of tea, but he gave me one hell of a fight. So there's respect there as a fighter. You ain't got to like everybody, and he ain't got to like me. Ain't about whether we like each other. But I think when you're sharing, the same hospital, when you're not hospital beds next to each other, how can there not be mutual respect? For me, I respect Chris. I respect the fight he gave me. Do I like his antics? Do I like who he is as a man? No. Do I like how he is, how he operates? No. But I have to take my hat off to him and the fighter he is.
Conor, I've got to ask you then, because you just said there about the hospital, and I always wondered this. I mean, the first fight was brutal. That's the way I'd probably describe it. But how long did it take you then to fully recover till you were back in the gym, back sparring? Because it took a lot out of both of you.
Yes, I was thrown up. I was pretty sick after the fight. Almost straight after the fight. In the changing room. Obviously nobody likes going to hospital, so I tried not going to the hospital. Got to the hospital, and obviously was feeling fatigued. They gave me medication, and we were both in hospital. Obviously, it was a hard 12-round fight. But ultimately, we know what we've signed up for, and yeah, we live and breathe this game. But I was back in the gym, believe it or not, on the Sunday. The next day, I was back in the gym. I was training. I've done a 5K run, yeah.
Good luck with that.
I think to myself, it was like, I just think to myself, it's it's a hard one because it was like you didn't win, so you're gonna have to do 5K.
No, but I listen, straight back on the horse, right? Just going back to what you were saying before about how brutal the fight was, I think I read that that Eubank said he was so dehydrated that his toenail fell off, and also he recently shared footage of what he claimed was his ambulance being blocked after the first fight. What do you make of those accusations? Where are we at with that at the moment, Conor?
I think it's sympathy vote, really, isn't it? Because ultimately, you guys would have never known I was in hospital until I've said, oh yeah, we was both in hospital together. You would never have known. I mean, it's 12-round fight. Of course we're going to be in hospital. You don't see me posting about me having to jump up 2 weights and going to the hospital. And ultimately, this is what we do. I don't want sympathy from nobody. I know exactly what I signed up for. And guess what? We're getting paid an absolute fortune to do it. So stop moaning and getting sympathy of the public. You know, even from the weight, he's made this 160 weight is pretty near enough his whole career, but he chose to miss it didn't choose to. He was cutting it fine for sympathy vote, costing 500 grand. Then he was £3 under the rehydration limit. You know, so it's again for sympathy. Then his toenail sympathy, the ambulance sympathy. It's like, when is he going to understand? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You know, so it's. Yeah, I mean, listen, we're modern day gladiators, so it's a bit. I think it's a bit embarrassing personally. If I'm in hospital after the fight, I won't be posting about me being in the hospital. It's to be expected.
Let me. I know we've got to let you go. Just before I do, you mentioned the 500 grand you got because he didn't make the weight. I know you bought a Rolls Royce with it. Firstly, how is the Rolls Royce?
I did, yeah, full spec.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. Man.
Is there a similar clause?
No, I'm not even joking.
Is there?
There is, of course.
There is a similar clause. What will you do with the next 500 grand?
If he misses weight, if he misses weight again, I'll go and buy a Ferrari. In fact, I've already got my eye on one. Already, it's on hold.
Conor, I saw when you did the gloves off, you mentioned this about every time you get into your car, you think of him. I know he was smiling, but I just get the impression deep down that did annoy him ever so slightly, the fact that you're driving about in a brand new roller and it's because he didn't make the weight.
Do you know what? I jump in it, yeah, and I didn't even have to pay for it. That's the thing, it was literally, and do you know what? He tried so hard to make the weight. Do you know what? It just makes me laugh. Even now, to this day, it's so glorious. But the fact he was like 0.01 over, it's like I've never even heard of that before. So the fact that I've got paid 500 grand for him just being 0.01 over, It is magical. It is so special. That's never happened before.
No, it was the weight of a Twix bar or something even lighter than that. This is last question, then I'll let you go. How will the fight end? You're going to win it, obviously. How will you win it, Conor?
Do you know what? I just want it to be a beautiful performance. Do you know what I mean? That's all. Just demonstrate other tools I've got in my toolbox. That's all. That's it. Everyone knows I can have a fight. Everyone knows I love to entertain. Everybody loves I'm ferocious, spiteful, and you know, always look to take somebody out. But I really want to go in there and show that I'm not just a one-trick pony, and it ain't always going to be a scrap.
Fantastic stuff there, Spencer. We went to hell and back. I want revenge. I don't like him. He ain't my cup of tea. All the things we wanted to hear from him at the beginning of fight week.
Absolutely. I think that, a fighter has to do that. He has to get that inside his head. It's a gladiatorial sport. He's got to get that mindset right, going into this one. I think that what he would have gained from that last fight with Chris Eubank Jr., which they both would have gained, was mutual respect. Because whatever
almost too much there's been up to now.
Yeah, but I think that what them two guys went through, a few months ago, you can't not have respect for your opponent through that, because they both had to answer questions about themselves and they both answered it. They delivered an excellent fight. And Conor said himself in that interview, that he had respect for Chris for the fight that he delivered. They both put it on the
I
line.
quote him exactly: when you share hospital beds next to each other, you have to respect each other. But I was training one day after the next fight. He recovered so quickly. We've heard from Bo McIntyre that Chris Eubank can get a stoppage in this fight. Could Conor Benn get a stoppage?
Absolutely. I think they both proved that they can hurt each other. We saw them both hurt in that fight. Chris Eubank was hurt 2 or 3 times through that fight. Yes, he recovered because he's disciplined. He has that mental strength to be able to pull himself through that. He got back to the boxing in those, and the later rounds he kicked on when we didn't think he could, by the way. After round 9, you think he's starting to go Conor's way, but he dug deep and showed that he has that championship material in him, and I think that is important. So yeah, of course they can both get the stoppage. It's one of those fights that's going to be explosive, and tactically they've got to get it right.
Chris Eubank's still here doing a ton of interviews. We'll get him later on in the week. We've done about 10 interviews today, many of which you can see on the boxing website, or boxing YouTube channel that talkSPORT runs so brilliantly and successfully. But as Conor also said, stop going for the sympathy vote all the time. He said so many things today about Chris Eubank that was more under the skin than we've seen so far in this build-up. But today it ignited again. The two men have done a face-off up on the roof here at the Stratford Hotel here at Stratford International Centre. Is your feeling that they can deliver a great second fight?
Yes, I think that's. I think with what's on the line with both of these guys, their egos, the history between the two, it adds the ingredients. Of course, they're going to deliver a fight very similar to the first one. It might even be better than that. Anyone that thinks that it's going to be more cautious and they're going to feel each other out, no, that won't happen. These guys, they know what they've got to do to win. Conor Benn knows he can't outbox Chris Eubank Jr., so he's going to go for it straight away. And with Bomac in the corner, like I say, is instrumental in coming up with the game plans. And I think Bomac's game plan is going to go lock horns, meet this guy, take him out of his comfort zone, put him on the back foot and beat him at what he does best. So expect fireworks early on from this one. And the answer to your question is yes, this fight will be as good as the first.
I'm not sure I agree with you on that. I think Conor Benn will try and box and feel out in the first couple of rounds, but he'll fall to type by the end of round 2 and be coming out looking for war. I think Chris Eubank will try and box more, but I agree with you, eventually be drawn into a fight. I see it 8 rounds to 4 again for Chris Eubank. We had some great interviews today. There's some great undercard fights as well. The chief support, of course, Jack Catterall against Eko Esserman at welterweight. A heavyweight battle between Richard Riakporhe, now 17 stone, big and healthy looking, against Tommy Welch, the son of Scott Welch. Take a little look at some of these interviews. Who you got, Benn or Eubank?
You know what? Initially, I said Eubank, and I heard a lot of things. I'm close to the teams and stuff like that, but it's tough. It's tough because I also understand the camp of Benn and the way they train. They train like beasts. They train hard. They're talking about these triangle runs. Craig Richards will tell me about it all the time. They come fit and ready to fight. So I think it's going to be a win for the fans because
God, just setting it on the
fan. I have to say on the fan because I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we got evidence from the first fight that Eubank is naturally the bigger man. Benn is incredibly tenacious. Arguably, the slightly better boxing skills are with Eubank as well. Most people had it 8 rounds to 4. What the question really is, and I think you're alluding to this, Benn has got the possibility to change, to upset the apple cart this time.
He does. But it's going to be tough. I tell you, I think it's going to be similar to the last fight. It's not going to be
big in Eubank then.
It's going to be where it's going to be where they're going to have to dig deep.
Yeah.
It's going to go to those rounds where it's like who wants it more. That's how it's going to be. I feel like.
How instrumental do you think it is with Eubank going over, teaming up with Bomac, who's known for that relentless training as well? And apparently Eubank's not been able to lie in his bed. He's been getting up and doing those runs. He's been training like a dog as well. You know how important that is. How important will that be? Because ultimately, if we do get into the penultimate rounds of the fight, they're going to have to stand there and trade up again. Eubank's shown that he's got that discipline. And with the added work with Bomac as well and the game plan that he brings. We saw what he brought against Terence Crawford and Canelo. How instrumental do you think that could be?
That's going to be very instrumental. I'll tell you this, if he didn't have that in the camp for this fight, I'd be scared for him, because, you know, you'll see somebody like Conor and you think, you know, he's smaller and stuff like that, you know, he can't really touch him. But we saw from the first fight, you know, some of the shots that Conor landed was doing some damage. And I thought, whoa, everybody writ off Conor for the first fight, if you remember.
Yeah.
And now they're like, no, this guy is not just about the glitz and glamour. They're fighting for something deeper. They're fighting for pride and the name, the family name and the legacy. And it's very interesting because we've never seen anything like this before in boxing, where the sons are fighting, and it's beautiful because they have a chance to make their names as well. I can imagine they're not able to do, you know, say what I can. I came to the game with no father, no nothing, and built my name. And we have a lot of pride I have a lot of pride to be able to say that. Whereas they have a chance to make their own name.
Big sacrifices on Saturday night. Echo Esserman, very physical, tensilely strong, great tensile strength. You're seeing this as a world title eliminator at 147, aren't you?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it's an eliminator. I don't get too caught up in what's going to come after him. I understand it's a big job. And people will say to me, oh, Echo's made for your style. He's a tough boy. He's going to come for it. No, I rate him higher than that. I think he's got skills. I think he's a tremendous fighter. I just believe I'm better than him. But I've got to go out there and prove that Saturday.
Jack, it's the second fight at welterweight. You stepped up in weight. You know, you had your successes down at super lightweight. The last fight against Harlem Eubank was a messy affair. Styles clashed, the heads clashed as well. But you come through that one victorious. But Echo, like you say, this is stepping up another level and in a new weight division as well.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think the weight benefits me. The last fight was the first fight at 47, not the most appealing fight. I don't think Harlem come to engage another fight. I think he wanted to come and try and nick it. He was lunging in with a head. It made it frustrating for the first couple of rounds, and then kind of before the fight ignited, got quite a serious cut, which took some healing to get plastic surgery on it. So that was frustrating. But then back to the weight. Second fight at 47. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fit, energized. I've been fueling the body for the training sessions. I've been making 140 since 2012, so it was a long time.
Can you steal the show on Saturday night?
100%. I reckon I'm going to steal the show on Saturday night. But after I steal the show, Conor Benn's going to steal the show after that.
Oh, okay. You're picking him to win then?
Yeah, 100%. I think he's approaching the hero character this time. You know, he's not giving it he's not letting his anger take over this
or emotion.
But I think he's definitely switched on. I think he's going to box him this time. And I reckon Conor Benn will stop him in 7 rounds.
Wow, okay.
You know how important that is to keep those emotions in check as a fighter, and you've got a guy here that's going to be coming at you, and you're in this big stadium. You know, we're going to a whole new level now, Adam. It's important for you as a young fighter to keep those emotions in check as well, because you can't afford to get involved with this guy because he's physically very strong and you're playing into his hands. How difficult is that emotionally?
To be fair, look, he's going to come give it the talk. Like I said, he can be the biggest guy. He can be, The Rock or something, but he hasn't fought anyone like the same opponents that I fought. And I 100% that with those big muscles, he ain't going to do nothing. He's going to be getting tired and I'm going to be picking his face off.
Talk about the journey getting to this point, because, he's had its ups and downs and the loss to Harry Scarf and the rebuild, etc., etc. But you're such a cool customer, calm customer, and you go, but people don't recognise the struggles that you have to go through and the patience you have to get to this point. And you're really a product of that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've definitely paid the price to be the boss. And that's exactly what I'm going to be. So I'm going to be the boss regardless. Like, whatever happens, be it a little bump in the road, I will find my way around that bump and I'll make it to my destination. Whether the light's still on at the end of the tunnel and I can't see it, I'm going to make it there. And with what happened in the past, the fight that I had to learn from in Harry Scarf, well, I think it's safe to say you can see from the performances I learned from it.
After your fight on Saturday night, obviously a big walk to the ring for Chris Eubank and Conor Benn for the second time. Who you got?
I think it's round 13. So Eubank.
There you go. Simple as that.
I mean, my biggest opponent through my life has been my dad, as well as best teammate that I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
But my hardest critic is my old man, and the level that he's had and the level he wants me to be at has always been tough, and I've always tried to get to that level. And there's been times where I haven't, and there's been times that I have, and that keeps me focused and in line. So back to the proving point, I'm not here now to prove to my old man. I've proved enough to him. He knows I'm on my own path, and I've always done my own thing. And I've just decided that I want to take after the boxing world that he left behind for me.
How do you respond to that, Scott? Biggest supporter, but biggest critic?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been a very hard man because I needed to be hard on him because he's my son. So if he was just a normal bod, he wouldn't get hardly any of it, but then I wouldn't really care. But because he's my son, I have to be harder with him than ever before. Also, he's been brought up with every great champion, has spent time with him, talking to him, the Sugar Ray Leonards, the Lennoxes, the Mike Tysons, the Holyfields. He knows everything. So this kid will show on Saturday night what he understands about boxing, I believe.
You turn pro, you're in great hands with Joe and Natasha Jonas, and you know you're going to get looked after and guided right. But all of a sudden, you find yourself on all these big platforms, now boxing at a stadium in front of 60,000 people. Tell me about that. That must be a pinch yourself moment for yourself?
Yeah, it's massive. Buzzing to fight on these big cards and get the opportunities, thanks to people like Turk and giving me the chance to prove myself on the big stage. And I've got no problem fighting on the smaller shows. Like, I'm a positive. I go back to fighting in a smaller show after this one. It's just fighting, and that's the sport. But yeah, while I'm here, I'll soak it all in.
How do you switch it up, right? Because anyone that's watching you that hasn't seen you fight, by the way, you look at him, and Joe, you're right, he does look like a young choir boy, and butter wouldn't melt and all that. But you see this kid boxing the ring, and that knockdown we were talking about off air, and you hit this kid, and he went down like he'd been shot, really. He just went ping like that, and I just thought, how has he ever got up? I don't know how he got up, but I mean, there's something really special about this kid. How he can switch it on like a light switch.
Yeah. Listen, he's a good amateur, like you say. He's a baby, but he's beginning to develop his strength now, and his punching power is beginning to come. And like I've said to him, all the way through his career up to now, just go out there, get rounds under the belt. It isn't a case about knocking people out early on. You're not got to learn anything. Let's learn our craft, and then when we do have to fight, we will fight. And it proved that last time, and we will prove that again this Saturday. But he is a kid that's been educated and brought up a bit old school way, fighting the right kids coming through and at the right time. And there's a temptation for everyone to rush him, but I think just his own natural talent may be the reason why he'll be pushed forward more than us holding him back.
Can't wait to see you fight on Saturday night. Who wins out of Ben and Eubank this time for you?
Mate, I keep getting asked this question. I really want Conor to win because obviously I've known Conor for years, but I do think the impact of Bomac is going to be big. I think Chris's ego, I don't think he'll listen to any other trainer, but I do think he'll listen to Bomac. Look at the Liam Smith rematch, and I just think I think you're going to get a better Conor this time, but you're also going to get a better Eubank. And I think he's going to stick to a better game plan this time. I think he went in there with the view that he could just walk through Conor last time, and he knows he can't take him lightly this time. So if I had to put a bet on, I would be going Eubank.
Listen, nice little bit of bling you got there, mate. Let's see if you can add some more on Saturday night. We can't wait. It's going to be good.
It's been on its own.
That little Lonsdale belt's a cute one, though, isn't it?
Mate, I always say this. Obviously Ricky Hatton was my hero, and the first fight of his I watched was Ray Oliveira, and then I watched the Costa Ju one, and then for Christmas my mum bought me remember the box sets she used to get, and they had every fight, so I'd have a fight, and they had every single one of their fights. Sat there going through all the fights, and I watched the one against John Faxton, and I must have watched it 10 times over, just repeat, and I was like, mate, I want to win one of them.
Horrible cut early, didn't he?
Mate, cut over both fights.
Ricky Hatton, yeah.
First round.
By the way, that was the fight that moulded him on to go on to do greatness that he'd done, and that was the one to win the British title, and that kick-started him.
Yeah.
That could be the springboard for you on Saturday night, mate. We're looking forward to it.
Is it rewarding to be picked or get the opportunity to come and fight in the UK, where I spoke to Sean Porter on Saturday night on our Fight Night show on talkSPORT, And he was saying, at the moment, America's peering over the wall a little bit and seeing how much the fans are supporting boxing in this country. Obviously, we've got 8 out of the top 15 heavyweights in the world at the moment. And there seems to be a resonance about boxing here that there isn't in America at the moment. Do you see that as well?
That's why I'm here. That's why Allah has put me right here. Where the fans are, that's where I'm at. Where Allah puts me, that's where I'm at.
It seems crazy the change within the sport. Like when I was boxing, America was the place to be. That was the mecca. You know, getting out to Vegas was the dream, and getting your world title shots over there, that was the dream. That's what everyone wanted to do. And it's how it's changed now, where fighters now appreciating, not fighters, sorry, fans appreciating just how big Britain is to boxing. You know, the fans appreciate the sport so much. And on Saturday night, honestly, I know you're saying about playing football and in the stadiums and all that. Saturday night is going to be wild. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is like it's been built for not football but for boxing because of the way that it is. You know, it goes up. It's
an amazing stadium.
It really is, and you're going to experience something so special on Saturday night. It's going to be incredible, and it's going to be one to remember.
Butterflies moving formation. Butterflies moving formation.
They say they become dragons if they're in the right formation as well. What do you see when you've studied Adam Azim?
We'll see.
Okay, you're not giving anything away. Did you watch the first Conor Benn Chris Eubank fight?
Yeah, of course I did.
Did you enjoy it? And who have you got second time around if you're going to have a pick?
I don't know, but I want the winner.
Oh, you want to fight the winner? I like it. Okay, sounds good to me. Conor Benn or Chris Eubank? Who would you prefer to fight?
I want the winner.
Listen, you want the winner, so you have to go out and do the job on Saturday night, and we are looking forward to that. Best of luck, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you, Kurt Scooby. Cheers. Kurt Scooby, everybody. Little Scooby there at the end against Adam Azim. It's going to be a great battle, that, but most people will say, oh, Adam Azim's going to win this. He's going to stop him halfway. What a story. We had to squeeze it out of him, but there's something special about that guy. We might see an upset on Saturday night.
Listen, he's very tough. He's very strong. And, you know, that mindset he's got, you know, the life struggles that this guy
Foster homes, trying to make it at American football.
And like you say, we had to graft there. We had to work to get that out of him. But when he opened up, you know, you could see. But, I was looking into this guy's eyes.
Very
going,
strong, isn't he?
He's coming here. He believes and he sees this as a huge opportunity. That's a dangerous fight, a potential banana skin for Adam Azim for sure. Like Kirk Scooby is a guy to keep your eye on. Yeah, he's coming to win.
There's some brilliant undercard fights, but later on in the week, stay tuned all week. We'll be here for every single day. The media arrivals, the workouts, the press conference, the weigh-ins. But later on in the week, there's a heavyweight battle of verbals. Eddie Hearn and Simon Jordan are going to go at it. Don't miss that. We'll be verbaling each other all the week. It's always great to work with you, brother. Spencer Oliver, Gareth and Davies. We'll see you tomorrow.